we will be underway here in round number 2 shortly. Remember, Season 4 Invitational Champion, Dylan Donegan. That wonderful elemental token. Qualified for our Players' Championship last year on the last possible weekend that he could do so, and also brought Steve Mann along with him.
One of our more dramatic invitational finishes.
Indeed, and Stephen Mann is here this weekend as well, so perhaps those two could team up and make the top 8 again. Maybe one carries the other in. We'll find out as we make our way through 15 rounds of action this weekend. Long starts off with a Flooded Strand. Temple of Lightning there for Donegan as he scribes the top card to the bottom. Round number 2 underway here from Richmond. We'll see what Long has for his second turn here in just a moment. He'll play another Flooded Strand. He's going to sacrifice them both. Go down to 18. Islands and Plains are what he can search up. So there is the basic island, the Joe Lissette School of Basic Lands.
Not exactly. Those are unlimited. Joe goes with revised.
Oh, pardon me. Good eye, Sniper. They are white bordered, though.
Yes.
And he does not use those for his lands deck either, so perhaps he's been around for a little while as he does play a Seeker of the Way. Donegan will draw a copy of Mystic Monastery, Stoke the Flames in hand, Soulfire Grandmaster as well. Jeskai, a deck that appears to be on the incline again due to the addition of Jace. And positioning in the format. Mantis Rider, a great card against Green-Red Devotion. Soulfire Grandmaster pretty good against them too, since it's something they really have some difficulty getting off the table.
Though the Green Devotion deck can be so explosive that, yes, it's vulnerable to creatures that fly. Yes, it's vulnerable to creatures with activated powers, but there's some games where that just doesn't matter very much.
Absolutely. Seeker of the Way, it's your time to shine. There are instant speed effects that David Long can't hand here, like Raise the Alarm, like Secure the Waste for 1. Donegan gonna block. There will be a trade. Donegan will gain 2 life.
Yeah, Donegan not buying it. Could have been Anticipate. That's probably the worst case scenario there.
Yeah, that's true. The follow-up is another Seeker of the Way. Land number 3 is a Flooded Strand. We head back Donegan's way. Valorous stands to draw. Dylan with the Battlefield Forge. That means all 3 colors of mana are here, and a Mantis Rider is going to be in the air. 3 damage coming across. One thing you will note about these Jeskai decks is that they are really moving away from Goblin Rabblemaster now.
Yeah, there's less and less of that floating around, and it wouldn't surprise me if that problem became more pronounced as Jace picks up in popularity, because a lot of the cards that people are going to go to answer Jace, you know, cards like Wild Slash, Ultimate Price, they're also quite good against Goblin Rabblemaster. And Standard, these decks and Standard in general has a lot of competition at 3 mana. There's a lot of plays you can choose from. So Rabblemaster was on the incline for a while. Wouldn't surprise me it starts trending downward, and Jace being part of that consequence.
Long will draw a card as we get ready for his 4th turn. He'll play a Shivering Reef. Let's see what we have here. It's Treasure Cruise. Pretty easy to accomplish. That'll also trigger Seeker of the Way's prowess, which means it now has lifelink. 3 cards over there for Long. Dylan Donegan has seen this sort of thing before. He did it to quite a few people in Seattle last year. Here's an attack for 3. Donegan, no interest in a trade here. Time for Donegan to untap and draw. Mystic Monastery appears to be the draw for the turn. Jace in hand currently. There's a Temple of Triumph. Top card to the bottom here for Donegan. Mantis Rider going to come in. That's the easy part. We'll see what's next here for Dylan. Does have a copy of Stoke the Flames in hand. Has a Jace. Unclear what else at this point. Valor Stance doesn't appear to be playing too much of a role, but there is the Stoke the Flames. Dylan has to take 1 from the Battlefield Forge. But now Seeker off the table.
And the damage race is just not manageable on Dylan's side of the table if David is casting spells and gaining life. And David, having just drawn 3 cards, stands to reason he's going to untap and cast some spells. And, you know, especially if he has something like Lightning Strike for your Mantis Rider, you're way behind. So would have been attracted to play Jace that turn, but I like Dylan's instinct of just get the Seeker off the table before too much damage gets done.
And 3 mana for long. We'll bring a Jeskai Ascendancy along with it. Now here's a copy of Jace. So some things have certainly changed here. Dylan being put to the test in a pretty big way. Ochai's Command the draw. A card that is on a sharp incline.
Yes. I mean, these Jeskai decks, the token builds, have gotten away from the 3-mana creatures altogether. The builds I see now are just Jace, Seeker of the Way, and Ochai's Command.
Donegan going to play a Jace of his own, along with the Mystic Monastery. Now we have a Jace battle. So David Long will draw a card with an active Ascendancy and a Jace on the battlefield.
Though, interestingly enough, for as long as this game has gone on, no player that close to being able to activate and then flip Jace.
Yeah, not just yet.
David, part of that is a consequence of the Treasure Cruise.
Sure.
But Dylan's Graveyard's only got 2 cards in it.
Well, David will activate the Jace. We'll discard a Mystic Monastery.
Ooh, Jason Jeskai Ascendancy is a combo.
Ever heard of it?
Whew. You know me. I think Jeskai Ascendancy is busted.
Yes, you do.
Very good chance I play this deck or something similar to it in Grand Prix San Diego. But Chase usually just flips the first time. I rarely see it just, yeah, well, there's not enough cards in the graveyard, so it's still face down. But with Ascendancy, oof.
Oh, you can fill it up quick.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget, it gets some power, too, so it can give some
You
beatdowns.
get some beatdowns, too? Wow. I'd probably rather just loot more, but sure. that can come up, too.
Yep. Slices and dices.
No reason to leave any points on the table. You know, it's good.
You never have.
Good to know about.
Stoke the Flames in hand here for long. Oh, it only appears, well, that's 2 red mana, pardon me. Here is the Stoke. Curious on what this will be going after. There are triggers on the stack, of course. The untapped trigger there from Jeskai Ascendancy, along with the draw and discard. So now here's Valor Stance to protect the Mantis Rider. Timely.
Very important for Dylan to have it. And this is an intriguing game insofar as Dylan has had Mantis Rider in play attacking for several turns. Usually that's a free win for Jeskai aggro. Does not feel like Dylan is out of the woods just yet.
No, it doesn't.
Having Valorous Stance there is great, and Dylan's going to get an opportunity to untap, attack again, probably flip his Jace over, do something awesome. It's going to be a good turn next turn, but given how many times Dylan has connected with a Mantis Rider, surprising to see the game this close.
Jace is flipping now. Discarded Temple of Triumph. So now Mantis Rider is going to get -2/-0. And now we head back Donegan's way, who draws another copy of Mantis Rider. You see his hand. There's also a copy of Ochai's Command and a Mystic Monastery. Looks like Jace is going to start by looting. Draw and discard. Donegan will discard that Mystic Monastery pretty quickly. Didn't get a good look at what he drew for the turn, however. There's a Mantis Rider. This will be an attack for 4. And Donegan will have to pass the turn back. The Lightning Strike was the draw off the Jace. Pretty good one.
Absolutely. Dylan knows there's a good chance he's losing his whole board this turn. Or losing most of his board and having the rest of it suppressed by Jace. That's all on the table here. But with the Lightning Strike, he gets David down to 3. That means that being able to get to Jace into his next turn is lethal because he can flash back a lethal burn spell. David's also got to answer 2 Mantis Riders, so Lightning Strike's a huge draw.
Indeed.
This now means that the Jace also represents a lethal threat. And a lethal threat that's unbeknownst to David. He does not know that it's a guarantee he's dead next turn.
There's Lightning Strike. Jeskai Ascendancy will trigger. Draw and discard will long. He'll discard a Jace. Mantis Rider bites the dust.
You know, I almost bought my Jaces before Chicago started last week.
Too late.
So stupid. I was like, I think this card's going to be really, really good, and I should just get them now. And then I was like, nah.
Waiting typically a good idea.
Now this is happening.
Yeah. Looks like Long is going to play a treasure cruise here. He's just got to figure out what he wants to delve away. That'll also trigger Ascendancy. So first things first is draw discard, then peel 3. There goes Raise the Alarm. Now Cruise resolves. 3 cards on the way. The only thing missing here for David is some way to actually start dealing some damage. You know, if he had some creatures on the battlefield while he was doing this, this could get out of control quick.
Yeah, he has not found a lot in terms of token generation. And his deck's not that heavy on it. He's got the package we saw last week, 3 Raise the Alarm, 1 Dragon Fodder, 1 Secure the Waste, and the 4 Hurtling Outburst.
There's a Wild Slash on Jace. Draw discard again. Discard Mystic Monastery. Fast turn back. Lightning Strike's gonna go upstairs. Time to untap and draw. Donegan will attack for 1. Wild Slash was a good top deck, because that's gonna put David Long to none. Dylan Donegan's gonna win game number 1 here over David Long. Jeskai Aggro up a game here over Jeskai Tokens. Long able to do some very impressive things with Jason Jeskai Ascendancy there, but just didn't have anything as far as creatures are concerned to deal some damage to combo up.
No pressure. He was very close to stabilizing that game, though. I think that if Dylan misses on that draw step, David's got a great chance of locking it up, especially if he's able to find Ojutai's command, gain some life, and then he's got a huge cushion.
We take a look at the sideboards here. We will start with David Long and his Jeskai Tokens deck.
2 copies of Valorous Dance, 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, 4 Disdainful Stroke, a Roast and End Hostilities, and Elspeth Sun's Champion, 2 copies of Outpost Siege, and 2 copies of Fiery Impulse. I think that you're going to see the Fiery Impulses coming in this matchup. They seem excellent, blunting the early pressure. Also not hard to get Spell Mastery achieved, and then you can start killing Manus Riders. The 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, the Elspeth Sun's Champion. Just the control cards here, I think, is where David wants to go. He's got a better late game, especially with Jeskai Ascendancy.
We'll take a look at Donegan's sideboard. He's got 3 Anger of the Gods, 2 Arishan Cleric, 4 Disdainful Stroke, and a Gate, an Elspeth Sun's Champion, 2 Roast, and then 2 copies of Dragonlord Ojutai.
I would probably sideboard light for this matchup. I like the 2 copies of Dragonlord Ojutai, the Negate, and the Elspeth. And beyond that, I'm not too excited by anything that's going on here. I think some number of Disdainful Strokes could be fine. I wouldn't want the whole 4 necessarily, but you can anticipate David bringing in some expensive cards, and you can always counter Treasure Cruise.
Well, we will talk about the Season 3 schedule here on the Open Series, where we kick things off actually not too far from here when we were in Charlotte for our fantastic Grand Prix. That was won by Michael Malone. After that, we went to Indy to watch Eric Rill win with Green-Red Dragons. Much more aggressive take there. In Baltimore, it was the Boz. How could we forget? Andrew Boswell finally winning with his first Open Series event with Obzon Aggro. And then Chicago last week in the debut of Magic Origins. Ton Win was our champion with Green and Devotion. And now we're here in Richmond. We got some more dates coming up after that.
Exactly. Next weekend, we're off for the Pro Tour and Regionals. Head over to StarCityGames.com/regionals. More information on that event. Then we're in DC for Legacy, a Standard Grand Prix in London. We go back to Charlotte for a Modern Open Series event, and then the Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey, Standard and Legacy as the Invitational formats with a 2-day $20,000 Standard Open Series event, August 28th through the 30th.
Anytime you do sign up for a main event, of course, you will get our play mats. We have a bevy of them, and this is the newest ones. Of course, Tassiper, the Golden Paw, with
extremely popular.
Our favorite dog, good old Bananas.
Yep, just so happy in spite of what appears to be a pretty sad life. And this playmat available all throughout Season 3, free with your entry. We give it to you on site. Not the first X who sign up. We're not, nothing like that. It's just free. Any series, Season 3 Open Series event.
We're using the F word again this weekend, huh?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Free.
Good old free here on the Open Series. We get ready here for game number 2 between Dylan Donegan and David Long. 2 players having a lot of success in the Open Series. Donegan, again, the Season 4 Invitational Champion last year. Played in our Players' Championship. Pretty healthy run there for the youngster. And he's here, a North Carolina native. But soon enough, he'll be moving on to Texas for college.
Yep. Congratulations to him.
Indeed. A drummer. Mm-hmm. I believe a soccer player as well. I don't think he's taken up your basketball open challenge.
No. He's playing this weekend.
Oh, is he?
He's playing this weekend.
Nice. Just don't post him up too much. You're a lot bigger than he is. Okay. None of those jab steps are. You like to lead with your elbow. I've noticed.
Shoulder, not elbow. I'm not pulling my elbow out there.
Might want to rewatch the tape. That elbow's out there. Dilligan's a young man.
Yep.
You could ruin his career early.
Yep.
So just dial it back a little bit.
Dylan's parents are watching. Your boy's in trouble.
Okay. Okay.
Boy's in some trouble.
That's just uncalled for.
But yes, he is interested in playing this weekend, so we'll see.
Patrick has started.
We were going to play at the Players' Championship, but then
I recall.
The timing didn't work out because we
Yep.
had to do a lot of promotional stuff, and people had to have their picture taken, and there was a tight timeline and all that kind of stuff. But he plays a lot.
Yeah, it was winter.
So he claims.
It was winter.
We still played. I still played with the buyers.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna call it the Patrick Sullivan Basketball Open Challenge.
Yeah. It's not a challenge. Just play. I'm sure that I'm going to be playing against people that are better than me at some of the opens. It's fine. Just get out here and play some sports too.
Who's the best basketball player in Magic that you've played against? Do you know?
So I've never played against Travis Wu, but apparently he's quite good.
I know that he can dunk.
The best basketball player right now, I would say, is either Shahar Shenhar or Marshall Sutcliffe.
Okay.
They're both huge and can play.
Okay.
The best player I saw of all time over the history of the Pro Tour was peak Ed Fear.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. He was great.
A name most people will not know.
Yep. I think he's got, I want to say 1 Pro Tour top 8, not positive.
Okay.
Used to own a store up in Rochester, New York. Still involved in game design, and he's got, a variety of interests. But he's on the older side now. Some injuries took his toll, but in the early 2000s, yeah, he was a monster.
No one beats Father Time.
No, undefeated.
I'll have to be looking on.
Mm-hmm.
Not much one to suit up on the court.
Yeah. You should play too. It's good.
I'm a
It's
watcher.
good for you.
There are a lot of things that are good for you that I don't do.
And it's so great because
Like
eventually
running.
me or some player in an event is just going to be in a cast because we're doing this.
I do hope for that. You
Yeah.
get to broadcast with a cast on.
Yep.
That would bring a lot of joy.
Black eye.
Indeed,
Yep.
yeah. Both these players taking a look at their opening hand. David Long will be on the play here for game number 2 with his Jeskai tokens deck. The Battlefield Forge is where he will start things. Donegan with the Mystic Monastery. Along with a Shivan Wreath into a Seeker of the Way, much like how he started game number 1 off. Donegan will draw. He'll play a Temple of Epiphany and Scry. Top card very quickly goes to the bottom here for Dylan. We head back to David Long. Dylan with a few burn spells in hand and Lightning Strike and Stoke the Flames.
This might be the type of weird matchup where both players have brought in Anger of the Gods.
I've seen this before. Mystic Monastery after the attack there for Long.
I think it's more powerful in David's deck than it is in Dylan's. Dylan's got a lot more creatures, and David's got a better late game. But I can understand Dylan also bringing it in just because David has plenty of threats of his own, you know?
A Temple of Triumph. That was a Scry to the bottom. On the end step, David Long will play a copy of Raise the Alarm. That'll trigger prowess, of course, on the Seeker of the Way. And 2 soldier tokens incoming. Long will draw a card. It's time to attack. I come across for 4. There's a mountain for Long. He'll pass. See if Donegan wants to fire off this Lightning Strike now.
Well, Dylan's in this odd spot where he needs to do something good with the Anger of the Gods. So he kind of has to not Lightning Strike something, cast Anger, and hope this is good.
Well, here is Anger. And it will resolve. So it is good, as they say. Long will draw a card. Here's 3 mana. Let's see what's next here for David. A Hordling Outburst. 3 goblins on the way. Donegan draws a copy of Mantis Rider. And there's a Plains. Here's Dragon Lord Ochitai. Well, okay then.
Love this card out of Dylan's sideboard
Likewise.
for the matchup.
2 copies of that one. There's a brick wall if I've ever seen one. A card that's been on a pretty steady decline, actually.
Well, a lot of that is that there's been a decline of Jeskai, and Dragon Lord Ochitai is the deck where you most frequently see this. We do see some of the 5-color builds of dragons, but they've moved to more powerful dragons, different sort of card advantage engines like Den Protector and so forth. So definitely way less of this card than we saw week 1. When it first came out, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
But I think that if Jeskai becomes more popular, we're going to see more copies of Dragon Lord Ochitai, even if it's just in some sideboards.
Well, it's on the battlefield right now for Dylan Donegan. Now here's a Mantis Rider. He's going to come in the air. Encroachment. Proper use of encroachment. That was good.
That's how you draw it up.
Don't fix those tokens. Just keep nudging on in there, Mantis Rider.
Play your cards right, you might destroy one of them. Just keep pushing them back. Keep pushing them back.
Looks like it might be Stoke the Flames time here. And it is. Now, last time we saw Dylan Donegan have a copy of Valor Stance. Does have a copy of Disdainful Stroke in hand. It is curious if Disdainful Stroke will ever get any better than this. Looks like Dylan is deciding that it will not. So he'll let Mantis Rider go and just pass the turn back with the counterspell available, along with the Lightning Strike.
I mean, Dylan's got a lot of cards in hand, far more than David. And I think Dylan just wants to protect himself from some big play. Not that Elspeth would be the biggest immediate concern, but, you know, he can afford to trade 1-for-1 with David's removal spells. And next turn, he can start going on the offensive with Dragon Lord Ochitai. That's a threat that's worth protecting with the Disdainful Stroke. If there's another Stoke the Flames in David's hand, you might see it at that point.
It's time for beatdowns. Everybody's coming in. You have to imagine Dragon Lord Ochitai is blocking something. We'll figure out what it is soon enough. Dylan does have some nice protection here in Disdainful Stroke and Lightning Strike in case anything goes too wrong. So I'd be curious to see which creature he does want to block. He's going to go with the Seeker of the Way.
Yeah, Dylan with Lightning Strike in hand is hoping to get David to play over the top and then turn the Lightning Strike into something very powerful. It's possible the motivation for this attack is just David casting Anger the Gods also, in which case this is also the best block for Dylan, because he can't save Dragon Lord Ochitai regardless, and this way he saves the most damage.
3 damage will come across, Seeker of the Way will bite the dust. We'll see what the follow-up is here for long. As Donegan's down to 11. Ah, yes, the Anger of the Gods mirror, just like you called. Both players have it. Both players aren't particularly thrilled with it.
Yeah. Dylan's was much better.
Yeah.
He just got 2 cards.
But David did get Dragon Lord Ochitai off of the table, but certainly at a cost. Rabble Master the draw. Hello. 4 copies of that in Dylan's main deck. Okay, not as popular as it once was. Goblin attacking for 1.
Really potent in conjunction with Anger of the Gods.
Combo.
I mean, I get it. You don't want to remove that much power from your deck, but you do want to bring in the Angers because they're going to be good in a bunch of spots. But it does lead to a pretty... If you had a 60-card deck list, it would be pretty comical.
Yeah.
Of what these decks look like post-board.
Well, just a little of this, a little of that. That's all. You can play a couple different types of games. Treasure Cruise here for long. That's going to get countered by Disdainful Stroke. No Rabble Master looking to run away with this one.
Yeah, David on the hunt there for some sort of spot removal spell. I like Dylan closing off David's entire turn and now getting another big hit in with Rabble Master.
Dylan with 5 mana. He'll play Dig Through Time right now while the shields are down. So take a look at the top 7, of course. Take 2 with them. Will the 2014 Season 4 Invitational Champion. He'll play a Temple of Epiphany now. Take a look at the top card. That one's going to move to the bottom. Donegan very comfortable with these Jeskai decks. Another Goblin token on the way. Rabble Master going to hit for 6 in combination with all those Goblins.
And that was really the big hit that Dylan needed. Now with all the burn spells in his hand, even if David could answer the board, David's likely to get killed over the next couple turns. Took a little while for Dylan to finally start attacking in this game. He was playing a lot of defense, but now that he shifted into offense mode, he's going to be able to close out this game very, very quickly.
Here's 2 mana. Jace, a little late to the party. Donegan will draw. Picked up an island, but there's a lot of burn in Donegan's hand. There's also a Mantis Rider. Lightning Strike looks like it's going to clear out Jace. Goblin on the way. A lot of beatdowns here.
It's just lethal.
Yeah. And that's going to do it. Dylan Donegan going to win this match over David Long, 2-0. Jeskai aggro will take care of Jeskai tokens. Donegan draws quite good in that match, and it appears as though it might be favorable with the setup that he does have.
Well, David's draws were, game 2 especially, really clunky. Game 1, he had some good stuff going on. It just took him a little bit too long to get something going.